Why do you want to run for this position?
Because I feel I can make an important change with a transformation in a Marxist way. And I feel it's an important position in that respect due to it being about external affairs and campaigns, hence the title. So I feel it's I can do well.
What do you think that you personally would bring to the job?
A clear plan of a clear reasoning behind what I do using different theoretical tools.
As a first year, do you think you understand the UCL/UCLU community sufficiently to represent them and to work within that?
I've been involved with quite a lot of the different sections of it. Obviously I'm slightly less experienced in different manners, but I have been involved with quite a few different societies. I know people from a wide range of different parts of the community.
So what kind of campaigns would you like to engage in?
Well, there's obviously free education, which I actually think both the other people running for this are also going on, although with a more general kind of, yay, free education. So obviously that. But also, to distinguish me, there's also the getting involved in the labour movement, which I think is very important, especially we've seen with the strikes recently. It's a very important issue at the moment, as well as internationalism, to try and increase the connections with other countries who are developing in different struggles around the world.
Why do you say your opponents aren't involved in the labour movement? Why do you think that?
Well, I haven't seen a particularly strong push for the labour movement as a key aspect of their manifestos.
External affairs. How would you interact with other students' unions across the country, or the NUS, or whatever places UCLU?
Well, we'd be pushing for very much the same as we're pushing from here. But we would be interacting obviously quite closely with as many different student unions as possible to try and create closer ties to improve the basis of student radicalism in a good sense, and the student movement in general, and try and encourage them to take on some of the policies and ideas that we're going for, so that we can build a larger movement, so that we can achieve things like free education across the board.
Have you been involved in any campaigns this year so far?
I was slightly involved with the Cops off Campus thing. I was around quite a bit. I haven't led any campaigns or anything this year, but I have been involved in various ways, on a smaller scale usually.
You're running on the Marxist Society Manifesto. How would you work with the other sabbatical officers if you're elected that aren't in the Marxist Society?
Firstly, it's not a Marxist Society thing, technically. Got to make that clear. I'm not officially endorsed by the Marxist Society, but there are two other members of the Marxist Society who are running on very similar manifestos. Well, I'd obviously try and find common ground. There was people have often noted that there's a general kind of left feel of the union, but obviously mostly it's not as far left. Occasionally it's ultra left without so much coherency. So I would find as much common ground as possible, but I would avoid diluting my beliefs, and I wouldn't just kind of start pandering and getting too involved in the wheeling dealing of student politics. I would try and stay on a fair programme.
But do you not think that SAB officers have to work as a team if they want to get things done?
They do, but if what you're getting done isn't what you're trying to get done, then that's no better than getting nothing done.
You also talk about the international struggle for socialism and reaching out to revolutionary youth in all key countries as part of a socialist internationalist policy, is what I'm reading. How would you intend to do that? And why do you see the role of external affairs as being that external?
Well, as it's the most external of the officers, if anything's going to be external, let's go with that. And internationalism is a key issue. It's not a single country. We've seen with the crisis, it hasn't been a crisis in one country, it's been a global crisis. And it's important to not just see people as foreign people and our people, especially if you consider the makeup of the student body here. It's about 40% international students, I believe. So by acting on an international level, we are connecting with our own student body as well.
You say on your manifesto that you are going to donate some of your wages to the labour movement. How do you see that being distributed?
Partly through international labour unions. A large proportion will go to labour unions. Some of them will go to Marxist organisations throughout the world. Obviously, this would be my own personal finances, but and the exact breakup I would decide later. But it is something I am definitely dedicated to do if I do get elected.
Part of your manifesto talks about a rent freeze in the private sector, in accommodation. How would you go about campaigning for that?
Firstly, we'd have to look at the own union, the university accommodation, which is making a large profit at the moment, when it could be going at cost price. And then beyond that, it would be done through campaigning, through trying to basically get the student body and the wider population involved in this to make them realise that this is not an acceptable thing to do. The way that they're hiking prices purely is profiteering.
Another part of your manifesto says that all union facilities to be shut down in solidarity with striking university workers. Do you think that would be a popular policy? Do you not think a lot of people are so disaffected with student politics?
Firstly, I'm not running on any sort of populist campaign, but officially at the moment the union supports all strikes. There was a movement passed by Tim, who's running for another position, which explicitly says, which explicitly says that the union supports all strikes, which is clearly not the case if you're encouraging people to come in. So.
You also want mass democratic assemblies. How would you go about engaging students in the democratic process?
Well, firstly, by changing the entire, by encouraging a change of the general structure of the university in the way that's been mentioned, it would engage students more because if they feel less. At the moment, there's a large disconnect because they feel it's just run as a complete bureaucracy which isn't related to anything. So, by encouraging these changes, we would encourage more engagement with mass assemblies as well.
Do you think a year is long enough to change the structure of the union?
No, basically. It's not, but you don't have any longer terms, and I'm not saying that this is the end of everything. It's a start, and that's the key thing. Is You have to start somewhere.